All right, Frank, thank you. Yeah, and we want to get back to Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo. She has an update right now, a press conference that she's holding about the current situation. Let's listen in.
It looks like we're having some audio difficulties. We'll work on getting Judge Hidalgo's microphone up there. But in the meantime, we want to mention 2 shelters that are open for folks if they need a little bit of refuge.
Yeah, what is the Humble First Assembly of God Church? That's 1915 FM 1960 bypass. And there's another church, St. Timothy Lutheran Church in Houston. We'll have that information for you in just 1 second, but let's listen into the judge.
Here to explain more details about the rain and about what areas are flooding. We also have a representative from the San Jacinto River Authority. We've received some questions about Lake Conroe. They have enough space, don't plan to release the lake, but he's here to answer questions. We are responding to rescues. Our fire marshal is here to provide additional information if needed, but we have rescued folks, over 1,000 people in the east side of town, 500 folks in the Spring area. We had, after Harvey, 160% increase in our high water rescue assets for all of law enforcement in Harris County. So that's allowed us to respond adequately to the calls we're receiving. We continue to direct folks to readyharris.org, where they have information about recovery, about closures, and about the work that we're continuing to do. The biggest message right now is that the danger continues as the rain continues to fall, and we need folks to remain at home, to remain off the road. I know that folks are heeding that advice. Most people are. Anybody who is thinking of going outside, please make sure that you stay indoors. That's the way to keep yourself safe. That's the way to keep our law enforcement and first responders safe as well. We are also opening 13 shelters with the Red Cross across Harris County. As those come online, we'll be putting the information at readyharris.org. I'll pass it on to Jeff Lindner to give a weather update. Then I'll repeat remarks in Spanish, and we'll be here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Jeff, would you mind checking the mic to make sure it's on the middle line? The one without a flag.
All right, Jeff Lindner with the Harris County Flood Control District. We continue to have heavy rainfall. It is shifting to the south now into the Brays Bayou, Meyerland, Sugarland areas, and then a little bit further south down to the Pearland area. We are getting a little bit of a break, as the judge said, in the northeast part of the county and the northern part of Harris County that was hit so hard early, the Aldine area, the Spring area, but we still have significant amount of water out there, and we still have a little bit of additional development up the 290 corridor. So we continue to have rainfall. This continues to be a life-threatening situation, and a flash flood emergency remains in effect at this time. So we need people to heed the advice we are given and stay where you're at. The most dangerous place right now for anybody to be is in a vehicle on any of the roads and getting yourself into a high water location on any of the roads. Talk briefly about the bayou situation. We have multiple bayous that are out of their banks in certain areas. And I'm going to start from the northeast part of the county and go down to the southwest part of the county. The east and west forks of the San Jacinto River, again, major flooding is expected on those starting tonight and lasting into tomorrow. Those are subdivisions east of US 59, the lower portions, the very lower portions of Kingwood, not all of Kingwood, but the lower portions of Kingwood near the river. The east fork of the San Jacinto River near FM 1485. Cedar Bayou from FM 1960 all the way down to Baytown. And there could be some flooding in the city of Baytown along Cedar Bayou later tonight and into tomorrow. Gum Gully in the northeast part of Harris County near the San Jacinto River. Gardner's Bayou in the Humble into the Beltway 8 area near Intercontinental Airport. That bayou is over banks. Little White Oak Bayou in Independence Heights. We do know there is some structure flooding occurring along Little White Oak Bayou just north of the 610 North Loop. Halls Bayou, we do have significant flooding along Halls Bayou near I-45 in West Mount Houston. The subdivisions that are included in this are Colonial Hills, the Belmont subdivision, and potentially the Hidden Valley subdivision. These are the areas right there around I-45 and West Mount Houston. Brickhouse Gully is over banks near US 290 and the Langwood subdivision. Homes are taking on water in that area. Lower White Oak Bayou is rising very rapidly near I-10 and I-45. It is possible that the bayou is going to exceed portions of I-10 and I-45, as we have seen in the past, right there where I-45 and I-10 come together north of downtown Houston. And so TxDOT is monitoring that very closely right now. And then the lower portion of Cypress Creek, this is the area east of Aldine Westfield, north of Intercontinental Airport. A couple other important points to make. Addicks and Barker reservoirs, the floodgates are closed. They are not releasing any water. There is plenty of capacity in those reservoirs to handle the rainfall that we are expecting. We are not expecting any flooding from Addicks and Barker reservoirs from the pools behind them, and there will not be any releases from those reservoirs based on the current rainfall that we've had or even the expected rainfall that we're expecting. And one other bayou to mention, Hunting Bayou on the east side of Houston. We do expect structure flooding possible in the Songwood subdivision. That's on the north side of I-10 where the bayou crosses I-10. And if Chuck would like to come up now and make a comment on the San Jacinto River and Lake Conroe, to cover Conroe.
Thank you. Chuck Gilman, San Jacinto River Authority. Although we have seen localized heavy rains in Montgomery County, majority of that rainfall has been to the east of I-45. Lake Conroe Reservoir and its watershed is north of the city of Conroe. So we started this event with a lake level of over 2 feet below our normal pool elevation. So there was capacity to begin with. And then our watershed has not received the rainfall intensity or duration that we've seen in southeastern Montgomery County and northeastern Harris County. So we have capacity in the reservoir and do not expect any releases at this time. Thank you.
Repito ahora en español los comentarios que hemos mencionado hace unos momentos. Hace unos minutos he firmado la declaración de desastre en el condado Harris. Eso nos permite hacer compras.
You are watching a press conference with Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo and other Harris County officials as well with an update on the situation. Right now she's giving out information in Spanish, and we just want to highlight some of what they mentioned there. One of the most startling things that was mentioned was that they have a 160% increase in rescues over the amount of rescues that they had during Harvey. Of course, these are some areas that weren't hit during Harvey, but if you're getting it, you know, you're certainly in a bad situation. They've had 1,000 rescues on the east side of town and 500 rescues in the Spring area alone. Yeah,
we also heard from Jeff Lindner. He's with the Harris County Flood District. This is still a flash flood emergency at this hour. It remains in effect. He says the worst place that you can be right now is in your car. We have seen in several different areas, many different water rescues happening. Our Brandon Walker in Winnie on one of those rescue missions with first responders, just trying to get folks to higher ground if they find themselves in a situation. But also getting an update on the bayous that are out of their banks in different areas as well. But we are hearing from Harris County officials now at 1:20 on this Thursday. This has been going on for the majority of the morning and afternoon now, and we're just getting an update.
Yeah, they are reporting that they're getting a break in some areas, and that's hopeful, but the rainfall does continue. And they reiterated that we do have a flash flood emergency, and they wanted to make sure everyone realized that this is still a life-threatening event. So it's so very important to make sure that if you do not have to get out there on the roadways, that you stay at home in a safe spot. If you're at work, wherever you may be, rather than getting on the roads and risking your safety, the safety of those around you, and also the safety of first responders, just try to stay where you are in a safe building until this sort of subsides, and maybe in a few hours you can get out there and things will be a lot more clear on the roadways. Yeah, we're getting a live look right now at Katy Freeway at Houston Avenue. You can see cars going under this overpass, pushing through high water, and that's exactly what we don't want folks to be doing at this point. We've been advising folks to stay off the roads if they can, but clearly people are taking the risk, which is something that's not advised at this time. Yeah, the roadway above, you have that truck that is blocking traffic. They're not going to allow traffic to come across there, but then you look below, yeah, and you see a lot of those are, you can sometimes understand when a truck goes through because they're high profile. It's not advisable for them either, but we're seeing a lot of cars, and they almost look like they're boats and rafts. I mean, they're just the water there is very, very high, and that's just not a very smart
That's right.
thing
The roadways
to do.
are the most dangerous.
Let's dip back into this press
place to be,
conference.
and we will continue having to barricade and close roadways. So particularly the east part of town, I-59, or 59, we're seeing an I-10, and 45, we are seeing all along the east side, pretty much, and the rain continues. So we can predict more closures, more backup, and that's why we don't want people to be out driving. We need folks to go home. If anybody is caught outside in the rain, we ask that folks make their way to a structure, that they make their way outside the car, and we'll remind folks, if you feel your life is in danger, call 911, and it helps us to know what you're calling for so that we can respond what exactly your need might be.
Judge, the majority of these rescues happening for people who need to leave their homes, or these people who are out on the streets or getting caught in floodwaters? Can you give us a sense of where most of these rescues are happening?
I'll give an opportunity to Chief Christensen to answer that question. She has all the details.
Thank you, Judge. Laurie Christensen, Harris County Fire Marshal. What we're seeing is, as Jeff Lindner was talking about, these neighborhoods that are becoming inundated with water and flooded, we're seeing people that are going to go ahead and get out. Maybe they have children in school, maybe they have other places, and they're making meeting points to go to the shelters that the judge was saying is open. So the good thing is we've learned a lot since Harvey. I think we're seeing a lot of proactivity from our residents that are out there, and they're making plans early. So because they'll be surrounded in those areas with the water, they're getting out for those purposes. Again, we're seeing over 1,000 what we would call rescue and evacuations, and I want to make sure we understand not all of those are rescues. A lot of them are evacuations out of areas to get them to shelters, because they know this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. And again, we talk about the 160% increase in our fire services and our law enforcement capabilities. We're working closely with all 54 fire departments. We have over 120 law enforcement agencies, and we're working closely with all of them to ensure not only the safety of the residents, but those in the schools and those things like that. So we're verifying all that information.
From a safety perspective, you mentioned the 13 shelters that will be opened across the county. Any idea when those will open? Timeline, I guess?
The shelters continue to come online as necessary. It's changing very quickly, so I ask that folks review readyharris.org. That's where we have the latest list of shelters, and as soon as we see a lot of people coming to a lily pad, that tells us there's a need for a shelter, and that's when we open it. Of course, reminding folks, and folks know this when they're at home, if the home is taking in some water just a little bit, it's safer to stay there. More dangerous to be outside, but for folks that feel the need to be evacuated or for a rescue, that's where we set up these shelters, and the latest information will be on our site.
Over 1,000 rescues and evacuations. Do we have a breakdown potentially of how many of those are actual rescues?
Lori, do we have a breakdown so far? I know we're still collecting information.
No, and to tell you, it's so fluid that I can't give you that number right now, because as they're happening, we are going to capture that information, but to be honest, because everything is moving so quickly, that will be much later in the day before we're able to give the judge some actual numbers.
Yes, and that's the same with homes. We're still assessing exactly the numbers, and so as soon as we have detailed numbers, we'll get them out to you guys. Right now, the first priority is making sure we're out there ready to support folks when they need us, and we are being able to do that 100%.
You mentioned that the disaster declaration, I think you said it helps you with additional assistance from the state. Can you go into a little bit more detail about that?
So there's additional logistical assistance that we can call on from the state after the disaster declaration. We have been coordinating very closely with the governor. We have the Texas Department of Emergency Management stationed here, and so where we didn't need additional resources, they're ready to support. And now, of course, this sets the stage as well for if we need to do emergency purchase orders, additional procurement. During Harvey, this was used. Fort Bend County used it as well back then, and so it's something that puts us in a better position to respond, be nimble in a situation like this.
When you say logistical assistance, what does that mean?
We have our incident command here at the Emergency Operations Center, and we run through a very tight structure, well practiced. Everyone has worked well together. There could come a time where we need additional manpower, additional support, and so that's what this opens the door for. Right now, we haven't felt a need to call on that additional logistical support. We're being able to manage with all our partners, and what we're doing is sharing rescue assets across our local law enforcement agencies, the county, and we even sent some additional support, or some support earlier today, to our neighboring counties.
Judge, people find themselves in an emergency situation, calling 911, but we're also getting questions about a non-emergency line. Is there a way that people can call?
Sure. So right now, if you're in the city of Houston, calling 311 or calling 311 is good. We will share with you guys a number for our flood control district, which is important for us in terms of keeping count of homes that might be flooded. That is helpful after the fact if we need to apply for aid from the federal government. And so that's one thing, if it's a non-emergency situation, that we can share with you guys, and we'll make sure and share it after this. And it's on our website also, readyharris.org. Right now, we do ask to call 911 when you feel that you have a life-threatening issue, and we will be ready to respond. And of course, the county is working with all our partners to make sure that we're nimble and we're quick.
Jeff, do you have a sense of when this event will be over? I mean, when this rain will move out? Are we talking about this type of rain for the rush hour?
The question was, do we have a sense of when the rain will be over and can kind of move out of the area? So it is moving down to the south, so now starting to get into southern Harris County, Brazoria County, Galveston County, even back into Fort Bend County. Unfortunately, that is going to be moving across areas that had a lot of rain the other day, and so I am concerned of rises along Clear Creek and Armand Bayou and Turkey Creek down in the southeast part of the county in the Sagemont area. So we are going to be monitoring that. Generally speaking, we are seeing a decreasing trend, which is moving in the right direction. However, we are still seeing rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. So we're still putting water on top of water. And until we can get those rainfall rates down to less than a half an inch or less than a quarter of an inch, it's going to continue to worsen the flood situation we have. One other point I want to make, just because the rain stops, it is going to take a good amount of time to get all of this water out of here. The bayous and channels are working, but they are overwhelmed. The street drainage systems are overwhelmed, and it will take several hours once the rain stops to get the streets down, to get the bayous and creeks down. So just because the rain stops does not mean the water is going to go away. It is going to take time for that to go down. We could have high water in portions of the county into tonight and even into tomorrow, and especially those portions in the eastern part of the county, Cedar Bayou area and the San Jacinto River area, that water will remain high even into the weekend.
We have communities mostly east of here, obviously, but they're saying, this event has been as bad or worse than Harvey for them. How would you compare the experience here in Harris County to Harvey?
It's an incredibly difficult situation for anyone to see the risk of flooding, the water rising for folks that are taking water in their homes. It's incredibly difficult, and we understand the anxiety. The benefit we've had with this event hasn't been as widespread. Of course, each rain event is different, and I want to remind folks, of course, in all of the areas where we're seeing rain, especially our channels, the Halls, Greens Bayou area, Clear Creek in the southeast, those all have major projects that our flood control district has been working day and night on that we're accelerating at the county. Right now, the issue is life safety, and so what we need folks to do is stay calm. If they find themselves, they're feeling like they're in danger, to call 911 and to stay home. As Jeff mentioned, it may be that these bayous rise as they convey the water, and so we have to remain vigilant. Folks need to remain vigilant as the water stops. The best thing you can do is remain indoors, wherever you are, to not go outside.
¿En algún momento han hablado ustedes con autoridades del distrito escolar de Houston por la situación con las escuelas? Porque sabemos que hay algunas escuelas que ya tienen agua dentro también, y padres de familia están preocupados porque falta 1 hora y media para que los niños salgan y no saben qué va a pasar.
Estamos en contacto constantemente con los distritos escolares, informándolos de la posibilidad de los canales.
You are listening to and watching a press conference with Harris County officials giving an update on the situation. We heard from Jeff Lindner there, and he just said just because they are starting to see, some hopeful spots. Rain is starting to slack up in some areas, but by no means are we out of the woods. He just reminded us that just because the rain stops doesn't mean that the flooding is going to go away. They are expecting high water in some areas throughout the weekend, actually.
Yeah, and the drainage systems are overwhelmed. They're going to be overwhelmed for hours, even once the rain stops. So just because you see the rain not fall near your area anymore doesn't mean that we're out of the woods just yet.
No, and just a few moments ago at 1:29, as a matter of fact, just 4 minutes ago, the National Weather Service extended our flash flood warning until 4:30. So we know we'll be dealing with that issue at least until 4:30 if it does not get extended.
Yeah, and just a reminder, you know, staying vigilant during this flood event. If you can stay indoors, that's the best place you can be. If you're outdoors, try to get to higher ground, someplace safe, because the best thing you can do right now is just take care of yourself and your family and your pets. Get them to a safe spot.